How is everyone?
Good.
All good?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, look, hey, thanks for joining me on this webinar. Some people have, as you do in this day and age, can't make it, so can we record it? So it's a nice small team, and there will be a recording afterwards, so I will forward it on to all of you. So really what we're going to cover in here as we talk about the digital transformation is the challenges that a lot of companies are facing at the moment to deliver it. So the problem is, as we're probably all aware, the problems don't occur in the delivery of the transformation. It occurs in that planning phase. So what we've done is with OConect, we are what I would call a light enterprise architecture platform for the medium-sized organizations. The thing that it does is we create that level of visibility across the enterprise. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, creating the visibility. That lets you identify stakeholders, impact of change, where you've got process inefficiencies, operational inefficiencies. So visibility is the key one. Then we'll be talking about this. This enables you to identify the accurate stakeholders, because I suppose a lot of people have been involved in projects and you can't get the stakeholders on board. They don't collaborate. They don't want to have buy-in for it. So there's a lot there that we can have a look at that we help to resolve, and also resolving the silos with a connected enterprise. So let me hop on in. If you've got any questions along the way, please type them into the chat box or put up your hand. Either way would be good. Okay, can we all see this screen here? Yep. Okay, great. Okay, this here is the dashboard, or what we call as the cockpit. So all down on the left-hand side, everything that we've got here is are the modules that you can run. So different organization sizes need different modules, but everything begins with the enterprise mapping. This enterprise mapping module creates visibility across the enterprise, and it connects all of the entities within the organization together. So this helps to resolve a lot of the silos where teams and departments will operate by themselves, and therefore they do contribute to a lot of those transformation issues. So what we're doing here is I'll show you briefly how this works. So from here, we start to create that end-to-end connected enterprise. So we can add the branches. So hang on, let me go back to that. Let me go back to here. So on this top level here, we connect the enterprise structure, so functions and departments. The next level down is all of the people, down to external value chains, then the systems and processes, and then we've got the reporting. So that's sort of how it works as an organization. So this is based on our demo data, which is a hospitality chain, hotels, restaurants, and bars. So if we set up a branch, then we can have a look and we can see what functions are connected. But let's go on and have a look in here. So we'll set it up. This would be branches or divisions, whatever you're wanting if you've got remote operations within an organization. Okay. Then down here on the right, we can have a look at the functions. So we can see how many functions within that organization are connected to that branch. So just at a click, we can see, okay, so human resources, purchasing, security, sales, and marketing, they all belong to the Christchurch Amazing Hotel, right? Then we come into functions. So we've set up here, we can have a look. We've got the accounting, we've got head office, we've got housekeeping, all on down here on the left. When we see it highlighted in red, we can see that it needs additional information, such as a a function owner, head of function, or department manager. They alert you that that data is not complete. And from here, we get a snapshot view of how many branches are in that function and how many departments are connected to it. So we can have a look here, accounting and finance. We can see, okay, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and general management belong to the accounting and finance up the top. So this is connecting everything together. So we have got a connected enterprise and integrated data because everything relates to each other. We come down, we've got departments. So we put in the departments again. If it's in red, it says there's information missing. From here, this view, so when we're in enterprise mapping, this view is particularly critical to, say, business on a day-to-day basis. So people that are dealing with change or HR or just people involved in business so they can understand, oh, hang on a minute. So I'm looking for this person and we can see that they're in that department. So you can get a very good idea of how the organization is structured without having to run around with a clipboard. So we can see down here how many people are in the general management department there. The system is set up to be collaborative, and what we mean by that is when we're undertaking transformation or any change or process mapping, we need teams to be involved. We want people to be involved. That helps to drive that stakeholder buy-in up front, because a lot of the resistance comes from the stakeholders when they haven't been involved in the planning. They don't really know what's going on. And then the organization wants them to come on board once the project is ready to go to be delivered. So that's where we get a lot of that resistance. So this system, our system is based on collaboration. So from within the people, we've got the invitation system, which is built in. From here, what we can do is we say, okay, we want Paul Brownlee. We're going to send him an invitation to become a collaborator. So we can invite him as an editor, administrator, or a collaborator to come in to collaborate on this department change. And we can say, okay, it's in the accounts payable or marketing, right? So then we invite him to become involved in that collaboration. Whether it's bringing his subject matter expert knowledge or whether it is getting him on board to plan any of the transformation, he's now invited. So again, the collaboration system or the invitation system is based upon people's the permissions base. You can't collaborate on what you don't know about. You can have an input, but you can't bring your expertise from marketing into finance. Excuse me. Okay, and we can have a look here. We can have a look at Arthur Daly. We can have a look. He's the housekeeping manager and he's a department manager for the front line. So we can see at a glance what he does. We can go and filter up here on function owners. We can see down here who are the function owners. So we can have a look at external people. We can see who's been assigned. And assigned means that, excuse me, assigned, rule the roles. So these are people that have been invited to collaborate on the invitation system. Then we hop over into teams. Again, very straightforward, but we can have a look at teams that are set up, who's involved in that team. We can drill down into it. We can see, okay, so here's the team description. Here's the team leader. We've got members. So we can quickly have a look at teams that we've got set up. Then we head over into the system. So all of this, this here is quite... We had a customer in Australia who got all of this information set up within 2 days. So this information is populated either via an API or a CSV upload. So it's very quick to do, it sets the organization up for that transformational change. And what it does though is it drives all of the other modules within the OConect platform. So this data has got to be there for everything else to tell the story. So if we hop into systems, we can have a look here. Again, having a look at systems, we can identify duplication, rationalization opportunities, opportunities to improve bottlenecks or mitigate and reduce bottlenecks within the organization. But we can have a look here. Let's say this flex keeping. So we can see this system here, right? We can see you can set up the renewal date for it and the retirement date for it. This is the information that organizations want to know so that they can figure out, okay, hang on, we're paying for this system, but no one's using it. So when we drill down into the reporting, we can have a look at what departments and what processes are using it, and we can connect the data source in here. So again, this tells us what that data pipeline is looking like. Yep, and we can just save that. But over here, it tells us what process is linked to that system. So we can see this system, flex keeping, has got demand forecasting as a process attached to it. So if we're making any changes to flex keeping, this is definitely the process that will be impacted. We can see it's got a data architecture attached to it. And then if we hop into processes, we can have a look here. Again, you can add anything manually if you want. So once the system has been populated with all of this data, you can easily go in and maintain it, manually add, delete, or make edits to it. If we have a look here at accounts payable, okay, we can see accounts payable uses the Oracle Hyperion system, and these are the departments that are connected to it. We can add another department in here, and we can see the Adobe value chain. Adobe, who's the external value chain client, is also attached to it. We can see it's got a process owner. No teams use it. We can set it up as an automated, informal, or manual process from there. And then we can have a look here, view the connection. So instantly on the right under view connection, we can see, okay, the system owner res is used by the general management department, and it has got the transport logistics data connected to it. Okay, and again, if it's in red, it means that the data is not complete. External value chain, and again, connecting the enterprise all the way from the top down to the bottom, so through to the external value chain, because transformation and change always will impact the vendor, the supplier, or the external customers that are attached to your system. So we simply just attach those as the vendor if we're making a change to a system, or a customer that might use our accounts payable or receivables. Okay. Any questions so far? No. Okay. So,
Yeah, one from me. Sorry.
pardon?
Yeah, so I just want to ask one question, Sarah. In terms of systems, can we store any kind of licensing information, the systems that are being used, and make sure the dashboards are reflecting that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So we can store the licensing information under systems. We've got two
Mhm.
places. So it can belong to the system, or it can belong to the data or the technology architecture.
Okay.
Okay, so if we said let's go into here, Oracle Hyperion, so we Okay, it's in the technology architecture that we can see whether it's a license, a lease, or a bought system. So we get that, we store that information,
Okay.
but that's not stored in the general information.
All right. Okay. Because then it will reflect on the dashboard side in terms of an alert the team that this licensing is being overconsumed or underconsumed.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Yep, it does. Okay. All right. So now we'll hop over onto um, the dynamic, the business mapping, right? So the reason for setting up that enterprise mapping is so that we can get the rich information like this. So from here, we can understand how the function is connected to, on the left, we've got branches, and on the right, we've got departments. So we can get a very quick visual of how that organization is connected from functions, branches, departments, or we can go up here, we can have a look at how the systems are connected. So we can have a look. Okay, we can see here in the middle, the on-issue system is connected to the processes on the left, which is connected to the functions on the right. So we can have a look down here. This is a view that is great in presentations. It's great for management, and it's also great for the architecture guys. They just want to know how we connected. Picture tells 1,000 words, right? So that's the reason for setting up that enterprise mapping data, and that, I know it's a bit bland to have a look at it, but otherwise you don't understand how we can get it all connected. So we connect this under the hood. Let's have a look at the functions. Okay, we can see down here. So everything we can have a look at to see how it's connected to understand the impact of change right through here. Over into the business impact analysis, which is, again, the driving force behind populating that data. So with all of the enterprise architecture or the enterprise mapping data connected, we can now go and undertake a business impact assessment. This tells us what's going to change, where it's going to change, who will be involved in it. So let's create a business impact assessment, and we're going to make a change to one of the systems, the Oracle system. So we're going to do an upgrade on that. And we're making it a system change. We will connect it to the Oracle Hyperion. And we'll put in a business sponsor, Sarah Smith, and then we'll put in a project manager. So what we do is we have decided, we're going to make a change to the Oracle system. We're going to upgrade it. We can choose here what type of a system or a process change. Then we start the business impact assessment. Right. From here, we get to have a look at exactly what's going to happen. So we can see here the Oracle Hyperion system has got these processes attached to it. So accounts payable, employee payroll, and accounts receivable. We can have a look down here. It gives us 4 levels of reports. So we've got the stakeholder report here, which tells us who the investment decision makers are. And these are people that are the function owner, department owner, or system owner for the Oracle. And then it tells us, okay, here's the business requirement sources. These are the stakeholders that are going to be involved in delivering the business requirements for this level of change. We can have a look down here. Again, they are impacted, so they're involved. We can have a look at the collaboration contacts. And these people are involved because they are indirectly impacted as a department manager or a function owner. And then we can have a look at the user requirement sources. So these are the users that are going to tell us what we need to have involved in that change. So we can have a look down here. We can easily email them all. We can invite them to collaborate on this change and send the email out to them. So by having this level of visibility of all of the stakeholders to involve up front, we reduce that resistance to change, and we bring them in on board up front so that we can help to ensure we've got better requirements moving the project forward. So we've got that report there. Then we've got the interconnected processes report. This tells us in a snapshot what systems, automated systems or manual systems or informal systems will be impacted. It tells us who that process owner is, the department it belongs to, and the function. And then this is the helicopter view. So this here tells us exactly what's going to change within that organization. So we can figure out, okay, the Oracle system, here's the function it belongs to, the technology that it uses. This is from the technology architecture stack, the data storage that it uses, and the processes it's connected to. Okay. Any questions? So that the change impact, sorry, the business impact analysis tells the organization what that impact from change is going to be. And organizations can quite often take up to 12 weeks to pull that data together from different sources, pull it together, make sure it's accurate, and then start to analyze it. And it's quite an arduous process that can take a long time. Then we've got the process mapping module here on the left again. So let's hop in, and these are processes that we've already mapped. So we are having a look at the A1 room service as a process. We can see here, this is the process, the tool, the system that it uses. Then we can see that's the process, and these are the departments that use this process. Then up here, we've got a better view again of the tasks that are using that system. So we can have a look, okay, record order details as a task, and it uses this system. So this gives us a really good snapshot of how that process is integrated across the enterprise. Then we can have a look at the task to departments. We can have a look down here, the task and what departments it uses. So the one thing is, we call it the integrated process mapping because all of the data that it pulls to understand how that process hangs together comes from the enterprise mapping data. Okay, we can have a look down here in the task groups. We can see we've got the kitchen duties. We can see there's 3 tasks associated with that. So what we do is our customer in Australia they got all of their tasks down. They just did a big brain dump, put them all down, then they moved them into the order that they wanted them in. And they requested, rather than having swim lanes, that they have there's task groups. So the task can be set up into task groups. Okay, and all of the tasks can be date, time, and user stamped to understand who's made the last change. Say the task group down here. We can move them around from here. So it's a simple drag and drop. And again, let's go and we can have a look at this comments, and we'll say I need to give this to purchasing to change. Right, we can add that, and we can see that this has been date and time stamped and user stamped, so we can understand who's commenting on it. Okay, then let's hop into the process map. And again, the process mapping, not part of the enterprise architecture, but it's part of the visibility of that organization. It creates visibility, it improves efficiencies across the operations. So this is the process map that we have set up here. We've got A1 room service. We can see that it's got these tasks associated with it. We can go on and edit the tasks, add dependencies, link it to systems, put as a decision. It's a very easy and intuitive type of process mapping. We can come down, have a look. We've got all of the little icons that will tell you whether it's a manual, hybrid, or automated task, task dependencies, and then we can have a look at the task groups. So again, this is like the swim lanes. We've got 2 task groups here, or 3 task groups, and we can see that each task, this task group has got 3 tasks in it. So we've got the advised server, prep food order, and advised kitchen order. All of these reports are printable, PDF printable, and all shareable. Then we go into the reporting for the process mapping, and this again gives us a really good overview and deep dive into actually how this process is being used across the organization, how it's integrating with departments and being utilized by the other systems and integrated processes. So we can have a look down here. We can understand, okay, process and system duplication. Nothing in there. Hybrid tasks. Okay, system report. So it will report on every piece of the process that has been mapped. We can see here, this is the six tasks associated with it. 3 are automated, 2 are manual, and 2 are hybrid. And it's the customer service management system. Okay. So if we jump over into the data architecture, okay, this here helps to understand how your data is being stored, where it's being stored, and how it's being consumed. Again, for the small to medium-sized organizations, it's not as critical, but when you start getting into the medium to large organizations, they obviously want to know where their data is coming from and where it's being consumed and stored. So if we hop into managing the data storage, so we can have a look here. We can see that this is the data storage. This is the data type, sorry. And we can see one system uses this data, Funfin Oracle, and it is the profit room that uses it. So we can have a look down here. We can see that it's got a renewable date of the 22nd of 11th. Frequency for renewal is annual, and it's 550,000. Support and maintenance is 55,000. So, Gurpreet, this is where we would add in the licensing into here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep. We can add it into there.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. Again, that licensing can be associated with the storage or the technology.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. So we've got the configurable options down here. So the OConect platform comes with all of the data housing out of the box. These are the most commonly used data housing services. But again, you can delete them, you can edit them, and you can add your own in. But again, starting off with a blank slate or blank piece of paper is pretty difficult when you're coming to the data architecture. We can also have a look at the data service types. So here we can see we've got Amazon Aurora, we've got the description, we can see the vendor. There we can go on and add another one. It's quite simple. Oh, no, it's not that simple. Anyway, let's say we're going into SAP HANA, right? Again, this will tell us with that data and the systems, how everything is connected, where it is used, what processes and what departments are using it, so we can see instantly, okay, if we're going to make a change to SAP HANA, we can have a look and see what departments and what systems will be impacted from it. Okay, now let me come into here, data housing.
Sarah, if you open up that eye, you'll show the eye on the right next to the edit button. Then it'll show you a lot more.
Yep, okay. Right, so let me go on and we can see again where it's being used by what system and what processes. It tells us in a snapshot of what's going on there. Collapse that. Let's say we want to edit it. So this is how we would connect additional data sources up to that storage unit. So let's say we want to put in the transport logistics. We can add that in to the finance data pipeline. Okay, so we can now see that we've added this in up here. Okay, again, easy to have a look at, drill down into okay, managed services. Okay, so this one here, have a look at the details on here. Now we've had a look at that. Right, let's hop into the reports for this one. Okay, so this here gives us that overview as in with the business impact and the enterprise mapping. This tells us how our data is connected to systems and services and data housing. So we can instantly have a look here. Okay, SAP CRM, we've got it connected to the SAP HANA service, and we have got the data housing for it on the right here. So we get a really accurate snapshot right from the get-go of how data is connected, used, and consumed across the organization. Okay. I think that was about all on that, Mark. Okay. So let's hop on over into the technology architecture. And again, a lot of this here is not applicable for the small to mid-size organizations, but definitely the mid to large organizations who want to understand, again, their licensing, their cost of the technology, their cost, are they paying for technology and systems that they're not actually using? They can view all of the redundancies and where they have got opportunities to reduce their costs. So if we're having a look in here, so we've got the hardware layer down here. We go into the NAS, we can see here it's a standalone, conditions reliable, the vendor, the support team. We can see it's got one system attached to it, so we can instantly see Profit Room up here is the system that the NAS network is attached to, and we can see here that human resources and maintenance are the users and consumers of that. We can go on and have a look in here. Again, we get to see the maintenance frequency, amount, and any reports that we've got on that. Okay, hardware layers. These are the layers that come shipped out of the box. Again, you can go on and add, edit, delete to suit your organization.
Okay.
Okay. And yeah, and again, we get to have a look at where that's connected. So, so on the reports within this data architecture, what we've done is rather than duplicating and again having reports for data for technology architecture, because the data is hosted on the tech stack, and the tech stack needs the data to run, we have integrated it down into this report so we can actually see where we've got the data being housed, what service and what system. So we've got the technology stack in there. Okay. Now let me try my luck again. I know I'm pushing it. Um, but let me try and have a look at this business capability reporting again. Right, there we go. Okay. Okay, so this here is understanding your company's readiness for change, and the core capabilities in the business realization tells us where we've got subject matter experts and where we've got technology and processes to deliver to support the delivery of our capability. If we were going to, let's say we're an organization, we're going to undertake change on where would we go here? Let's see. We've got SMEs everywhere. Okay, so on the accounts payable department, so we can have a look at this as their core capability. Accounting and finance, that's the function. Then we've got the department, accounts payable department, and we can see that they run these processes. So we've got the accounts receivable process, accounts payable, accounts reconciliation. But we can see accounts receivable is the owner is Warren Sharrock, and we can see that that process is realized by this technology. So this system realizes it. So this here tells us again, if we want to make any changes, we don't have a subject matter expert in here. So before undertaking any transformational change, we would really want to get somebody in or recruit somebody that is a subject matter expert in that so that they can drive that transformation across there. Okay. Yep. So this tells the organization, are we ready for change? And it is that business capability realization. Again, everything can be printed to PDF, everything's shared and collaborated on. Let me jump into how we get the data in there on the data import. Okay, as I said, we can set up an API, but what we've faced and a lot of people have recently said is what we'd prefer is just the CSV import because they have a lot of the issues with IT and the security behind the API. So from here, we can simply upload the data. So when you're setting it up, you would just come in here. Let me remove this again. Okay, so we can just download a sample CSV on the right. You download it, it will tell you how to set that data up, and it's very easy to do. And then you just click to upload it. So we've got, we do that for all of those, all the entities across the organization. Again, CSV upload, and then there's a detailed upload. And this here is where we connect all of those entities under the hood to make sure that everything is interconnected and integrated so that the functions know what systems they're using, what processes are connected to those systems and departments to the functions. So that's how we create that interconnected enterprise, integrated data. And again, high level views of how that enterprise is connected. So a graphical view for executives and boardrooms. Then we've got the data view of the stakeholder and the business impact assessment. That will be for the teams to drive that transformation. And then from the enterprise mapping point, people such as HR, HR recruitment, and just different teams. Let's say I'm head of finance, and I've got the branch is connected to me, I can go in and make any changes that I want. This is an architecture that belongs to the enterprise, not to IT. So when we talk about the invitation system and the collaboration system, it's to invite those subject matter experts in to help build their part of that, their domain expertise into this level of mapping. So we don't want Joe from logistics telling us how finance runs. We want Joan from finance setting up how finance runs and the departments, because at the end of the day, who knows this data better than those domain experts rather than the IT teams? Although we've got administrators, collaborators, and editors, so it's a collaborative, integrated approach to getting the organization set up for transformation with A, visibility, B, the correct stakeholders, and C, accurate, complete data and the stakeholder buy-in. So are there any questions? I can stop sharing if you'd all like to unmute and just get some feedback here. Okay, right. Gurpreet, did that answer your questions there?
Yes, and yeah, it was really great because currently I think most of this stuff happens on spreadsheet in terms of any project implementation, and there's no linkage in terms of how the data technology. So I can clearly see the value. Just one question: can I sign up for a demo or like to just get a hands-on
Yeah.
and the? Okay, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
good.
yeah. So let me send you the link. Let me put the uh, link in here. Okay, so let me put that there.
I think it's on the website as well, Sarah.
Yep, it is. I'll just put it in here. Then okay, that's the link to sign up. So what we've got is there's a 14-day free trial. Obviously, we can extend that trial because it's Christmas. And when you hop on and when you sign up for it, it'll take you through setting up A, your organization, and B, it'll give you a demo first. So it'll take you through a product tour, which is very similar to what I've done, but you can replay that product tour anytime you want. So it's always there when you're going, oh God, how do I do that? Or what do I do? Or what's that for? So the product tour includes the basics. So it's the three core modules, not the data architecture. But again, that data architecture is that content comes shipped with the product and it is all set up there to begin with. So you can have a look after the demo, after the product tour, it'll put you into the demo organization. So all that data that you've had a look at now, you can play around with it. You can do what you need to do with it. You can't edit it. But then,
Okay.
you know, when you've got that visual about, oh, hang on, that's what that needs to look like, and that's what that needs to look like. So you can go and mirror it. And then you start to set up your own data. But what we're doing at the moment is we're doing 2 to 4 weeks to help organizations get their data set up correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So if you're wanting a hand with any of that, we're doing that as a complimentary service to get customers on board and trialing it. So really they're ready to go in the new year.
So yeah, in my mind, I'm thinking actions for me would be demoing the tool to my manager
Yeah.
and see how we can leverage that in our existing implementations, and then yeah, then I would get in touch with you guys in terms of getting our org data across. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely great. Because I know like a lot of these organizations need to change, want to change, but don't change because it's like they go, oh my God, it's hard and it's complicated and there's a long time to realizing the value. The one thing that our system does do, it creates the value realization very quickly. So as I've said, our client in Australia got their enterprise mapping data set up within 2 days, and then they mapped their whole entire organizational processes over the next 2 months to understand where they had bottlenecks, redundancy, duplication, inefficiencies. They were going through a growth phase, so they were able to get that done very quickly. So we can take data collation and collection times from 12 weeks down to 2 days, and once it's set up, it's minimal hassle to maintain it, because again, it's those domain experts. You do your little bit, everyone does their little bit. You've got someone that might be overseeing the whole thing, but
Yeah.
the weight of driving transformation is not put on the BA teams to go and collect that random data.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Hi, Sarah. Do you
Hi.
hear me?
Yes, I do. Hi.
Lovely, lovely. Hey, thanks for the presentation. Certainly, it gave me a good perspective of the product. The way I understood is this, it is the mapping of the enterprise systems, including all of the functions, branches, departments, infrastructure, and so on, which is fantastic. I guess
Yeah.
that, and the two significant stakeholders, the project planners that assist them in terms of whether it's a BA or a PM or an architect, and also from a change management point of view, they can see before implementing whether all of the other things have been taken care of, so which is fantastic. And from an IT planning point of view, I could see from an asset management and rationalization point of view, it gives a clear picture, some of the redundant systems, so which is great.
Yep.
I see this as from a systems thinking point of view, understanding the interrelationships, the dependencies, because system is not a system, it's a system of systems, right? So
Yes.
that gives a very good perspective on it. I do have a few things that perhaps as a question, and also a few things perhaps for your roadmap that could be of use, which I'm happy to email you. The
Yep.
two questions I had, obviously, when you introduce or think about a system, there are other alternate systems that are currently available within organizations. So, for example, many organizations I worked in, even the last one, we have organization structure systems. So where all of the organization structure, right from the chief executive to the functions, it's already defined. The information is already there. So it's in some respect a bit of a duplication involved. And there are other IT systems where the asset management systems, and there are other systems, enterprise architecture systems that also stores this sort of an information.
Mm.
So given that exist within different organizations, is this for a new organization that is trying to implement, or is that a system that an existing organization wants to improve that perhaps this could be the system? Because these days you
Yes.
cannot have one system. It is a federated system where the data should flow from A to B and B to A.
Yes. Yep. 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 So the system, as you mentioned, when like let's say they've got enterprise architecture systems. Well, those systems tend to be pretty archaic. A lot of them tend to be manual, and some of that information is stored on SharePoint or in Excel spreadsheets. That's what I've seen. I haven't seen many exceptions to the rule. So so again, I might have missed something, but the system, okay, we are looking to sort of come in and simplify that enterprise architecture for organizations. Companies spend thousands of or millions of dollars implementing, let's say, ARIS, right? It takes years to get that set up. It's also very expensive. There is, okay, we've got the Linux, we have got enterprise architecture as a solution, but again, they're based on TOGAF, and then they have a visualizer over the top to have a look at the reports, so to create the visualizer reports that we have got. So what we're wanting to do is on the mid-size companies, we want to come in as a light enterprise architecture solution. And when we have got traction towards the end of next year, and when we've got more richness involved in those modules, then we will definitely be looking at disrupting the incumbents, like Orbisoft, that have got the enterprise architecture market tied up. But again, a lot of them use Visio, don't they, Vinesh?
Yeah, historically, that's what organizations used. As you clearly said, the cost of implementing an enterprise architect type tool, it is slightly expensive. Not everyone can afford to do that, but there are companies successfully using it because sometimes you need in-depth detail for a solution architect to be able to see the connections, to be able to see the standards, and all of those things comes into play. But again, if we are clear about where this fits in, I think that would give much more impact when you're looking for an initial set of customers.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely not going after the large enterprises. We're not targeting financial institutes or banks or insurance companies because we've got a lot of their data privacy, particularly on the insurance and banking. They really need a massive, they need a massive enterprise architecture solution, and they need the teams to do it. That they've got the time, money, resources, and patience to wait for it, which is fine. But for companies on the mid-size range that are looking to improve, even some of these local governments, you just see it, like even with KiwiRail, I mean, for God's sake, and Wellington City Council, they're small enough to be able to adopt this platform to help improve their transformation, business and digital transformation outcomes.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Andre, do you have any questions? Feedback?
Not per se. I could have used something like this several years ago when I was doing some work for NZDF. Trying to build a manual, an operational manual for an organisation within NZDF. Yeah, it was quite interesting to see how it all fitted together. I thought it really came alive when you got around to the almost three-dimensional flow diagrams, because because prior to that point it was hard to visualize how stuff was fitting together.
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes I'll start off with the business impact assessment, but then what I've done on a couple of presentations is we've started with the business impact assessment because this is the stakeholders or even the reports. But people want to know, oh, how does that data get in there? How do we know how does it get in there? Where does it fit in? So although, yeah, that enterprise mapping is pretty bland, it forms the backbone of the entire platform.
Well, its other key benefit is it actually gets the key stakeholders involved from the beginning, whereas the project I was working on, I had practically no stakeholder engagement at all. Well, sorry, stakeholder buy-in and all, which meant it was not ever going to be a success.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, that's the problem that a lot of these organizations face, It is trying to get even the consulting companies, I've spoken to like Deloitte's and Ernst and Young. It's getting those stakeholders on board up front. And I mean, they're chasing them around for months to try and get buy-in, but they can't because they haven't been involved up front.
That's one thing I do notice, Sarah, that I loved that the linkages, the graphs, which is fantastic. Which is again gives you another challenge, which is traditionally organization leaders or departmental leaders, they would never want to get involved. It's just as difficult to implement the system because they won't take ownership. So I guarantee you, because they will give all sorts of excuses. But that said, that's a different matter altogether for the organization. But yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that to that point, in a recent exercise that I did, trying to get the stakeholders to sign off on requirements and documents of that sort when they haven't been involved in the first place. They say, "Oh, so you're telling me that I'm signing this, and if it goes pear-shaped, then I'm accountable for that." It's and they just simply refuse to sign if they have not been involved at the outset. So I think the trick here is to show them all the people who are involved. It's not just all on his shoulders or her shoulders. This is a team approach, and everybody's going to collaborate from the get-go. Then people are more willing to take ownership and collaborate.
Yeah, I totally understand, Mark, and I think where you're coming from is fantastic. What it is that if you actually sell it as an IT system, although when you say enterprise architecture, they immediately see this as an IT system. Okay, but if it is an enterprise system like an risk management system, which forms the basis for any business for that matter, then I think you could potentially drive those behaviors in terms of making sure there is a system from an organizational point of view we need to maintain and we need to take ownership. So know exactly who the owner is, who can decide, who can make the changes, and that sort of a thing.
Okay.
That's a very good point.
I love lovely to hear Mark and Sarah. Thank you. I got to go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for the
Right.
presentation. Lovely.
Yep. Thanks for your
Thank you.
time.
Very interesting.
Bye-bye.